What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel for another 1/6 scale figure related video. Guys, it's really hard to contain my excitement right now. I had to jump on and make a video. For those of you who don't know, Kaustic Plastik is currently at Luca Comics and Games. It's a trade show slash event, I believe, over in Italy. And obviously, Kaustic Plastik is there showing off many of their different new products. And there's also some kind of worldwide premieres, seeing the full look at a lot of really highly anticipated 6-scale figures. As you can see, I have one of them on the screen, and I gotta be honest with you guys, if I wasn't already excited for this figure, I am even more excited. Now, we did see recently, I believe it was at San Diego Comic-Con, we did see some early previews of these figures with some early head sculpts, early tailoring and things like that. And Fabio from Kaustic Plastik did say they would be making some changes and some updates. And clearly they have done so on not only this figure, but the King Jareth, the Goblin King, which you're going to take a look at. And just really, really exciting stuff. So I want to start by saying this. And as we look at the photos here of Eric Draven, I just am overjoyed at how this has turned out. I know this is just a prototype, but I am a believer in Kaustic Plastik. I've been collecting their stuff for years, and every single time I get a figure from them, it just has this ambiance. It's just special. There's really nothing like it. It's hard to describe, but what an absolutely beautiful, beautiful prototype. We're finally getting to see a lot of the accessories we have not seen previously. Awesome to see him having that guitar. I know a lot of people had that question about the guitar being included. Also, I'm very curious about this crow. Is there going to be some sort of stand that he comes with to have him kind of flying next to Eric? Can you put it on his shoulder? Obviously, that remains to be seen. But man, multiple things here that just really excite me and stick out to me. Number one, the overall proportions look very much like the late, great Brandon Lee. But man, that likeness to Brandon Lee is just truly spectacular. And if it already didn't look good, they certainly have improved it. I remember they post saying they made some more improvements after we saw it at San Diego Comic-Con. And you could see that here. It just looks absolutely fantastic. A nearly perfect head sculpt here. Obviously, we know some details about this. This is for the Maestro line. We've got rooted hair, the wool rooted hair we've been seeing from InArt and Hot Toys and some other companies. We've got rolling eyeballs, which is a newer feature for Kaustic Plastik, which adds a lot, especially here in this pose especially. You can see the eyes kind of turn to the side. It really adds to sell those poses and kind of changes up your display a little bit from someone else's. Really love to see that. Those proportions in this photo, I'll back up a little bit. Just looks absolutely beautiful. I will say that the paint on the hands looks a bit soft. Obviously, this is a prototype that will, I'm sure, be improved down the line. Love to see the shotgun accessory as well. That is something I really liked that came with previous figures, like the Sideshow and the Hot Toys one. Love to see that. The sculpt here that is a kind of new debut for this event is the alternate sculpt, kind of gritting those teeth. And of course, guys, we already know how this goes. There have been quite a few people that have already commented saying they're not a fan of this. I'm sure there's going to be more tweaks made to it, but do I think it's that far off? Not necessarily. I mean, if you actually go in and kind of refresh yourself, I know a lot of us have seen this film many, many times, but even I, myself, as many times as I have seen this movie, I had to refresh myself. So I went back and looked at some photos, and it's really not that far off. And I'm sure, Kaustik being Kaustik, they will continue to make some tweaks. Do I think the neutral sculpt is my favorite of the two? Absolutely. But I do like this sculpt. I just think maybe like the upper lip and the cheek area could be adjusted a little bit. Maybe the nose. I don't know. But generally speaking, I still think it looks pretty good. It's just not as spot on and perfect as that other sculpt is. But again, this is just a challenging expression. It's a hard one to nail no matter what the character is. And you're always going to have people on both sides of the fence. You know what I mean? Because it is a very unique expression, a very loud expression. So you're going to see that. Now, I know a lot of people are asking as we move on to this next photo, again, that default sculpt is it's just damn near perfect. I could literally see Brandon Lee without the makeup on his face in this sculpt, even looking at him with the makeup on his face. It's that good. I think it looks great. Those eyes look beautiful. Again, the hair is damn near perfect, and I know this is a prototype. We're going to have to wait and see what the production rooted hair figures look like for Kaustik, but again, me, myself, if I were a betting man, I have a ton of confidence in this company because they just always have delivered for me. So I think we're going to be just fine. We're in great hands with the team over here. Speaking of the team, before I get into what I was going to say, big shout out to everybody involved with these products. these new amazing products coming from Kaustic Plastik. Obviously, Fabio and his team, Dario, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. I know he's like the master painter. He does some of the head sculpt stuff and the rooted hair, and he also takes some photos as well. He's a great photographer. Shout out to him. And also my dude Rocco, the sculptor. I know Rocco has seen a lot of my videos and shown a lot of love. So Rocco, you as well, thank you so much for all of your great work with these amazing accessories and diorama display bases. These are some of the best diorama display bases I have ever seen. Getting into more of the full-on shots of the figure, again, I just want to stress, these proportions just look absolutely fantastic, especially with the leather coat. I mean, obviously, you know, this is a challenging figure to make because you want him to look proportional in the leather coat as well as without the leather coat, because we see him both ways throughout the film and both are arguably equally iconic looks. And personally, I think they've nailed it. You'll see some other shots later in these photos where you actually see him with the coat off. Me personally, gotta have the guitar slung on his back with the coat, kind of going all out, that full-on look for Eric Draven. I think that's absolutely beautiful. And man, those proportions look really good. That coat looks really good. And if you are familiar with Kaustic Plastik, you know that they have a commitment themselves to using really nice materials that won't flake or fall apart on you. So we do have a full real leather outfit where leather is used. It's real leather, it's not pleather, and you love to see that. The one thing I wanted to comment on that I have mentioned in previous videos, but we have heard recently from Kaustic Plastik some updates on it in their live stream, for example, that they did with 6-Scale Mafia. They did say this will no longer, as of right now, be a 2-pack. So yes, you do have 2 head sculpts, but there will not be that shirtless version that they talked about potentially doing in the past as a 2-pack. They didn't say that that was out of the question completely. It's just as of right now, I'm sure they wanted to finally get this pre-order out. And speaking of pre-orders, this will be going up for pre-order in November, so November of this year. So we will have a pre-order very soon for this. Of course, as the details come out, I will share it on my different social media pages, the Facebook group if you're not in it, links in the description. Follow me on Instagram. I will share it in those places. But yes, this will not be a 2-pack, but there will be multiple tiers that you can purchase from for different price points. And obviously the best tier, there's going to be 2 diorama display bases, which I'll show here very shortly. And there will be a bunch of really cool accessories as well as those 2 head sculpts. So I'm sure most likely the base version will only come with 1 head sculpt, if I had to guess, because Fabio is pretty good at separating different tiers to make it affordable for different tiers of collectors and what you're able to spend on these figures. So I'm sure there'll be some really good options for that. Now, I really like this photo for 2 reasons. Number 1, we get to see that gritting T-sculpt kind of on a full shot of the body. Again, I don't think it's that bad. I think it's pretty good. I just think it could be tweaked a little bit in like that nose and like, you know, cheek, lip area. If it didn't get tweaked, I'd still would be pretty happy with it if I'm being honest with you. I think it looks fantastic overall. Mentioning those proportions again, the proportions without the coat on look very spot on to me. I saw a couple comments of people saying they thought maybe he was a little too big or the head was too small. I don't agree with that. I think this looks very proportionate. Obviously, everybody sees things differently, so that is your opinion. Another thing I want to point out, we already know this, Kaustic likes to use die-cast. That is 100% a die-cast katana, if I had to guess, and I think they have mentioned this in the past, that all these Maestro figures will come with die-cast, but that's certainly got to be die-cast. It looks like metal to me, and that's really cool. That's definitely an upgrade over what came with the Sideshow one, for example, which is what I had recently in my collection, but man, looking very, very good. This is such a beautiful figure, and I do have a little video so we can see more like details on those diorama bases. This was just like a must-have diorama base. I want to zoom in a little more. You could see that broken glass window where him and Shelly were tossed out of, that iconic imagery that we kind of associate with this film on like posters and any sort of art that's done for like figures and things like that. That's always part of it, and it's very iconic. And this is freaking beautiful, and I just cannot wait to see this in person, and I absolutely will find a way to display mine with this. Which makes me wish that they did the 2-pack. This is it for these photos. It makes me wish they did the 2-pack for that reason, because we do get 2 diorama display bases with the best version of this, which I'll show you here in a second. But you're kind of have to use the other display bases like a background piece. And now when you look at it, you'll see it kind of can be used for that, which I like. But I was really hoping for that 2-pack. But anyway, we'll take a look at the video and you'll see more detail on what it comes with, because it's not all shown in these photos. One more thing I do want to show you though, shout out to Dario. We have another look here, which you will see in the video, of Eric Draven standing in front of the display base. And again, like, the display bases that Kaustic they do are just completely different from anyone else. They're so much more grand. They always make sense. There's always places for the figures to stand. Like, as cool as some of the Hot Toys diorama bases are, I feel like a lot of them, there's like crap on the ground, so you can't really put the feet in certain places, and I don't like that. Though you do have like the shattered glass pieces and the candles, they're not in the way of anything. That, you know, you can still display him kind of centered on the window. Like, this is freaking cool. And yeah, Dario took this photo, and if that doesn't show you how great that likeness is and those proportions are, I don't know what does. So as we pull up this video, I did watch this earlier and I completely missed. There is the crow. That answers my question. There he is on like a plastic kind of flight pole. There's that second diorama base with Shelly and Eric's grave. There's the chair, the katana, just some really, really cool accessories. I'm pretty happy with what I'm seeing here. This looks freaking awesome. But yeah, to say this is not one of my most anticipated figures of the year, I'd be lying. This, I think, now has gone even higher up on my list. This might be my most anticipated pre-order / future figure to enter my collection of this year, going into next year. I love this film so much. I had the Sideshow one. I adored that figure for what it represented. It wasn't perfect, but I still enjoyed it. And this, I think, will never be topped. I think, to me, and this is all personal preference, I think this is the best looking Eric Draven the Crow collectible I've ever seen. Certainly one of the coolest, so I cannot wait for this. I wish I could, you know, fast forward in time and get it right now. Maybe I could pay off Fabio and get him to get me an early copy. Of course, I'm just joking, but yeah, what a beautiful figure. I could not be more excited for this. Another thing that was also revealed at San Diego Comic-Con, and we're seeing again with a full reveal with all of the accessories and everything, is from Re-Animator, the first film. We have Dr. Herbert West, and we also have Dr. Carl Hill. Again, mentioning the different tiers, I'm sure there'll be a pack that just has Herbert, and then there'll be a 2-pack that also has Herbert and Dr. Carl Hill. You'll see there's actually a lot of accessories and stuff that you can get with these. So I think there'll probably be some nice tiers to kind of tier those pricing ranges. But as you can see here, again, when it comes to these 3 big reveals, I think these head sculpts are basically all spot on. I mean, to me, that looks spot on to the film. The severed head of Dr. Carl Hill looks spot on to the film. I don't know what they're going to do with this syringe for the Re-Animator serum. I don't know if they're going to make it have a small little battery or something to light up. I'm sure this is probably Photoshop, but if it's not, that's pretty freaking cool. I don't think it needs to have that feature. That would just be a plus. As long as it has that like glowing green color to it, I'm happy with it. But again, this sculpt is just spot on. I really cannot stress that enough. I think this is a beautiful head sculpt. Here we have our first look at Dr. Carl Hill in full with the non-decapitated head. And he looks amazing. The proportions look very realistic. The body looks really nice. I love this apron here, this medical apron with the blood splatter on it. It looks very realistic. That expression... Dr. Hill was kind of a son of a bitch. I mean, he was always playing to his favor. Somehow it always worked out for him, even in the end of the first film. And that expression to me is just a perfect choice for this character. And you'll see, and for those of you who have seen the film, you'll know the reference of some of this other stuff that it comes with, but you'll see some really interesting accessories that come with this. And I don't know if one of these showed back up in these photos that they showed previously, but I'll mention it, of course, if it does or it doesn't. Again, as mentioned with Eric Draven, we have rolling eyeballs. This sculpt, to me, is just beautiful. That mouth especially, though it looks a little weird, that is exactly the expression that Herbert had on his face when you could tell he was hiding something, he was planning something. And I think the glasses also look very good. Sometimes you see with the glasses that aren't quite scaled to the face, they're a little too big. These look very nicely scaled to the face. Again, those rolling eyeballs, really, really nice touch, especially for this character. This pose is really nice. I like what they did here. So we do have a glimpse here. I'm assuming it's going to be a swap out neck piece to kind of show that severed head look. I love that it comes with that stainless steel like medical tray, just like his head was in the film. And then you got Herbert again looking just absolutely maniacal with the syringe. The syringe, even if it doesn't light up, it looks very nice. It looks like that glowing green that you expect it to be. I also love that Herbert has that blood splatter all over his doctor's coat. I do know that Fabio said this will be a 2-pack. Obviously, you can kind of tell because it might be silly to sell Carl Hill by himself. I don't know if they're going to do that, but I would venture to say, like, you would want to have it all as a pack so you can kind of sell both. I imagine maybe this alternate look, I don't know if that'll be exclusive to the 2-pack, I don't know. Here's another shot of Dr. Hill. Again, the realism on the blood splatter on these gloved hands and everything is just so freaking cool, man. I mean, this is one of those licenses you never expected anyone to make 6-scale figures, let alone 6-scale figures of this caliber, of this quality. And I know, if I'm being honest with you, I don't know if this is going to be like a huge seller for them. But I will be buying this for sure because this is like a dream come true for me. Looks like we've gone through all of these photos. I do have another set of photos that they posted afterwards. But yeah, this is like a dream come true set for me and a lot of other people who are fans of this franchise because there's more than one film. And they've just done such a great job. I do wonder, I highly doubt it, but I wonder if they put rolling eyeballs. It doesn't look like it, and that would be obviously totally unnecessary, but how interesting would that be if they did? But look at this pose right here. Again, like, they've really just nailed this. Something to point out, which is very important, but also something that Kaustic has done on many figures in the past, which adds to that realism. You do have some seamless forearms here, as you can see, and that is a huge plus, especially in a pose like this. You can see how realistic it looks and that added realism there. Here's an example of these two together, and obviously they are a match made in heaven, or hell, depending on how you put it. But they look great, and again, those seamless forearms, that is a huge plus. This right here is my favorite bit, that hand perfectly molded to hold the syringe, because that obviously that Re-Animator fluid is the whole purpose behind the film. That's really cool. Yeah, love that too. Carl holding his own head, and he does some pretty wild things with that head. I don't know if they're going to do any more figures from this line. I would imagine maybe not anytime soon, but if they did a certain character, you could pair them together in a weird way to replicate that one scene from the film. Now, this I found very interesting. Obviously, it's really gross, but for those of you who have not seen the film, basically when Herbert first finds out that the Re-Animator serum is successful in reanimating a previously dead thing into a living being, he actually tests it on the cat. And the cat's just gone absolutely nuts. They don't know what's wrong with him, and obviously they eventually find out what was wrong with him. And as you can see here, Kaustic has replicated the cat in 1/6 scale, and I think that's just so gross and creepy. They even have the little note that Herbert left with the cat. This is crazy. I did not expect this. It's very, very creepy, but really cool, and I love the attention to detail. I think that actually might be all the photos. It is all the photos, but again, very exciting. I don't know if this will be a huge seller for them, because I don't know how many people are like really, really stoked for this, but it is a cult classic film series, and I think there will be enough people to make it worth their while, and I will definitely be picking this up because I think this is so freaking awesome, and I love the option to have a clean or bloody spattered look on the doctor's coat, what have you. The one thing that's not shown in these photos that was shown previously, for those of you who remember the film, when Dr. Hill is trying to sneak back into the building, he has the like the anatomy dummy's like head stuck onto his real body after his head is cut off, and then he puts like a doctor's mask over it to try to look like a normal human being, not someone who's been reanimated walking around with their head on them in a bag. So that was shown in previous photos. I'm sure that will be included still, but it's not shown in these photos, but it will come with that as far as I know. As far as when we can expect pre-orders for this one, this will be going up in November as well for pre-orders, November of this year. So that will go up probably, I imagine, at the same time or around the same time as Eric Draven. Maybe they'll space it out a little bit. But very excited to see what this one costs and like the totality of everything that it comes with, because I'm sure there's some stuff that we are not seeing here that does come with it. So very, very exciting. And finally, guys, we have some really exciting changes and reveals for King Jareth, the Goblin King. Really just cannot believe that we're actually getting 1/6 scale figures from this movie. Labyrinth is such an iconic film. As someone who's a fan of David Bowie and has been for a long time, I always wanted some sort of figure of him. There's been some third-party figures, obviously doing David Bowie as a musician, and I wasn't really a big fan of any of them. This, to me, is like best case scenario. I get a David Bowie figure, and I get him in what I think is some of his best work in Labyrinth, and this is so freaking cool. This is our first debut for the alternate outfit. I was hoping they were going to do this outfit, so I'm very excited to see that. As I mentioned earlier, Kaustic is dedicated to using quality materials. You could see here, this looks like a nice black leather. You could see the grain on it. The cut and sew and the tailoring and everything just looks fantastic, but also that head sculpt. I really liked the original iteration of the head sculpt. Obviously, some people had their thoughts on it and maybe wanted to see some changes. And I got to be honest with you, I didn't think it could get that much better, and it has. They've made some tweaks, clearly. This, to me, is like one of the, along with the Eric Draven, I really group these two together, which makes me so excited for the future of this company and what else they're going to do. These are some of the most realistic-looking 6-scale figures I've ever personally seen. And I can confidently say that they've just really done such a fantastic job here. I mean, if you didn't know better, if you sent this to somebody, even someone who's a big fan of David Bowie, they might think that this is actually David Bowie just because it looks that freaking good. The hair looks incredible, that like 80s hairband style hair. They've replicated it to a T. The makeup on his eyes, just everything about it looks fantastic. And obviously the details on this outfit are so intricate. You kind of have that like aged copper look here on this breastplate with all those intricate details. The pose is simple, but it looks great. I have another shot of that diorama base. It's massive. That was also worked on by Rocco the sculptor. I know Dario did a lot of the work here on the sculpt and everything on this figure, and he's outdone himself. Again, rolling eyeballs for this one as well. As far as I know, and this was recent that Fabio said this, supposedly this is going to be a 2-pack, so you will have 2 figures. I'm guessing they will both come with the same sculpt. As far as I can tell, these are the same sculpt. They look the same to me. So either there's going to be 1 head sculpt and you get 2 bodies, which I don't see happening, or you will truly get 2 figures with the same head sculpt. I'm fine either way that they do it, but obviously I would prefer to have 2 head sculpts so I can display both at once. This is the original look that we saw. It's cool that you have that hand. Again, I love when companies actually do their job and make hands specific for the accessories that they're including. You know, Hot Toys, sometimes we just talked about the Wolfpack Clone Trooper on stream the other night. They didn't include hands to properly hold that rotary cannon. Kaustic always includes plenty of hands, and a lot of them are purposeful to hold accessories like the orb here, and I think that's awesome. I just want to see more. You got the clock on the tree. It's just, you know, I am just so beyond excited to see every single little thing that this comes with, because obviously this is the official reveal of the figure, but we have not seen like a full layout and pricing details and everything that's included in the box. But man, this head sculpt is just spot on. That hair is spot on. I really couldn't be happier. Now, this is our first time actually seeing one of the goblins, and I know they have plans to potentially do more. But this is so cool too, and for something so small and so basic, look at that like patinaed look on the armor and the grime on the armor, just the details on a figure that's so small. I just think this looks absolutely incredible, and you know, we also have a cloth shirt on it, which again, for characters like this, usually they kind of get the short end of the stick from some other companies, but I'm so glad that Kaustic Plastik is the one who has this license, because I know they're going to do it well, and what I'm seeing here is very, very impressive. And it's so cool to finally see the goblin. Now here we have a farther back up shot of that display base. I will show you another one that really puts it in perspective how big it is. But again, the outfits, the tailoring on the outfits, the proportions, they've really done their homework, made some iterations over time. I'm sure they've made multiple changes to make sure it's right. Because what we're seeing here for a prototype, I think this looks so fantastic. And again, it's such a special license, and I know Fabio is a big fan of this license. That cloak though is beautiful. That like tealish metallic inner lining, they've done such a great job at replicating that. Another thing, the devil is in the details, right? Look at those holes ripped in the cloak here. You know, obviously in production, we could lose some of that detail, but I'm confident that it will be very close to this prototype. Sometimes you see companies will do battle damage, but it clearly looks like it's kind of been punched out of the clothing because it looks the same on every single piece. And looking at this here, that looks very realistically done. I hope that that translates to the final product, the production pieces, because that looks very realistic, and the kind of edge detail to kind of sell that effect. I think that looks great. Again, that leather grain looks really nice. Just a beautiful, beautiful head sculpt and an overall beautiful job on these prototypes. I think that's all the photos for King Jareth. Something I do want to show you. Here's Dario kind of setting up the figures for display, and you can get a big shot here of how massive that display base is. I mean, it is huge, but beautifully done. There's actually another shot here even further back. I mean, that thing is like almost as big as like half of his torso. It's huge. So just imagine what that's going to look like in your display. It's going to be phenomenal. I do have one more little thing to show you guys. In terms of the Labyrinth stuff, there's no estimated pre-order date just yet. I think they're still working that out. But like I said, as of right now, we do know Re-Animator and the Crow will be coming in November of this year for pre-order. So very exciting, and very excited to pre-order those and add another 2 to the collection, if you will. Again, sorry these Facebook videos are so small, but I still want to show you. Here's a kind of a mini tour of the 6 scale section. I know that's like an Italian animation. I don't know much about that. That Frankenstein, friggin' beautiful. So beautiful. London After Midnight. We got Herbert West here. There's some more views of the stuff that comes with them. I cannot wait, guys. I mean, these are just these licenses you would never expect to be touched. You could see here something else that we did not see in those photos showing up in the display, which is pretty cool. Yeah, dude. And also, something I didn't really point out or mention, as you can see here in this video, the tree with the clock on it is actually another diorama display base. So again, there's no shortage of diorama bases with these figures. I imagine they'll kind of pick and choose with the different versions what each one comes with. But obviously, the best version will come with literally everything you see here and then some. But that's it for the showing, I think. I don't think there's anything else 6 scale-wise. No, there's not. But guys, that's going to wrap it up. Beyond excited for what Kaustic Plastik is doing here. We'll pull this photo back up because I think it's so good, and I just want to stare at it as I close out my thoughts. Sorry if this video was kind of long and drawn out, but I really just wanted to sit here and gush on camera for a little bit. And I haven't made a video in a few weeks, so I figured it was time, and what better time to do it than now when we have 3 really great full reveals of these awesome figures. I've told you guys this many times. I've been saying it for definitely years now. Do not sleep on Kaustic Plastik. They are leveling up beyond what we could ever imagine. And I cannot wait to see what the final products look like. Again, obviously, these are all subject to change. The final products may turn out not quite as good, but as a betting man and someone who has a lot of confidence in this company, I think they're going to deliver very close to these prototypes, and I cannot wait to get these in my collection. But let me know your thoughts on these figures in the comments down below. What are your thoughts on the accessories, the alternate head sculpts? Which one of these will you be picking up? Which ones will you not be picking up, and why? Definitely share your thoughts down in the comments down below. See ya.